How goes it? David Belleville here with you, recording from the KMOX studios in downtown St. Louis, here to recap the month of April for the 2016 St. Louis Cardinals. We'll talk about the unreal starts to the careers of Jeremy Hazelbaker and Aledmys Diaz. We'll highlight Adam Wainwright, and we'll talk about what's going right, what's going wrong, and what to expect in the month of May from the St. Louis Cardinals. Now, entering the 2016 regular season, there were plenty of question marks surrounding this team, and with April now in the rearview mirror, some of those questions now have answers. Injuries to the roster were for the most part the culprit for so many problems that John Mozeliak and Mike Matheny had to tackle here in the early going. After a huge void was left at the shortstop position following injuries to Johnny Peralta and Ruben Tejada in spring training, yet another Cardinal rookie has stepped in and has exceeded every expectation. This time, his name? Aledmys Diaz.
The pitch to Aledmys Diaz, a swing and a home run to left field down the line. On the first pitch in inning number 5, Corbin gives up the long ball to Diaz, who has hit safely in 7 straight now.
Yes, Aledmys Diaz, off to a great start so far in 2016. In just 22 games to begin his major league career, he's batting an astonishing .423. I'll say it again. In 22 games to start his Major League career, he is batting .423 and leads all of Major League Baseball in batting average. To go along with it, he's also got 4 home runs and 13 RBIs. Now, Diaz was slated to start the season at AAA Memphis for the Redbirds. However, after Tommy Pham got injured in the season opener in Pittsburgh, that opened the door for Aledmys Diaz, and he has relished the opportunity to be a St. Louis Cardinal so far, performing at an alarming rate for the Cardinals, a historic rate for any rookie in the month of April. In 71 at-bats, he has a minuscule 4 strikeouts. Now, you can talk about the average, you can talk about his power so far, but he's only got 4 strikeouts. He's never been in the major leagues before. And in over 70 at-bats, he's only struck out 4 times. To put that in perspective, a guy like Randal Grichuk, who granted is off to a bit of a rough start so far, he only has 3 more at-bats than Diaz, but a total of 22 strikeouts. And Grichuk has been in the major leagues for almost a full season now. And it's nothing short of amazing what Diaz has been able to do and the way he has performed so far. Obviously, his numbers will find their way back to earth eventually, but who knows where the Cardinals could be without his performance early on in 2016. And also contributing to the Cardinal lineup has been Jeremy Hazelbaker.
Being the way of a set, and here it comes. That ball's hit deep into right center field. This is way back. This ball is gone! Home run, Hazelbaker! Right center field, and the Cardinals take the lead.
Jeremy Hazelbaker getting it done with the bat and the glove.
What a beautiful day as a line shot goes into left center on the move. A diving play by Hazelbaker in left field. What else are we going to do with this guy? I'm telling you what, he's played all-star Hall of Fame baseball the first week, hasn't he, John?
And Jeremy Hazelbaker, another Cardinal rookie, coming up through the system. He's 28 years old. He's fought through the minor leagues for quite some time now, finally getting an opportunity with the St. Louis Cardinals, and along with Diaz, has absolutely dominated. He is batting .317. He's got 5 homers so far and 13 RBIs. Not too shabby for the Cardinal rookie. Now, as great as these starts have been, on the flip side of that coin, another surprise, this one not so pleasant, has been the performance so far of Adam Wainwright, coming off of the Achilles tendon tear that forced him to miss almost all of the 2015 season. So far in 5 starts for Waino, he is averaging just over 5 innings pitched per start. He's got an ERA over 7, and opponents are batting .327 against Adam Wainwright. So far in the month of April, he has garnered a 1-3 record, so obviously not an ideal start for the Cardinal ace. Another alarming couple of numbers here. He's got 14 strikeouts to 11 walks. Now, that's not exactly the ratio we're used to seeing from Adam Wainwright. So far, he's at 27.2 innings pitched in 2016, and he had 28 innings pitched all of last season. So just to compare, He had 20 strikeouts to only 4 walks in 28 innings pitched last year, and in almost the exact same workload. Strikeouts are down, walks are up. It's a little bit alarming, but Adam Wainwright is healthy, so hopefully with just some mechanical tweaking, he should be able to get back on track. However, you have to be a little bit realistic here as well. He will be 35 this season, so one would think that his best years are probably behind him, but he's a professional, he's a competitor, he's a grinder, and something tells me he will be able to figure out these issues and get back on track, hopefully sooner rather than later, because the pitching, honestly, hasn't been as good as what most probably would have thought so far for the St. Louis Cardinals. Carlos Martinez has been, without a doubt, the best starter in that rotation. He's started off the season 4-0. 1.93 is his ERA. He's got 20 strikeouts to 8 walks. Carlos Martinez, a guy who has struggled with injuries to his shoulder. He's struggled with his mental preparation on the mound and throughout games, but his stuff is there. He's nasty. And obviously it's showing through so far in 2016, anchoring a bit of a struggling rotation so far. In the month of April, Michael Wacha, another young stud in the Cardinal rotation, off to a good start. 2-1, 3.07 ERA. And then things get a little hairy. Jaime Garcia had an unbelievable start early on in April. A complete game shutout. I mean, he is one of the best lefties in the game when healthy. 1-2 so far with a 3.73 ERA, but he's got 35 Ks so far. So Jaime Garcia, not doing terribly, not doing superbly, except for that one great start. Jaime Garcia, you know what you're going to get from him if he's healthy. 35 strikeouts, that's not too bad to start this season. And then there's Mike Leake. He came over from free agency after the Cardinals failed to land David Price. So Mike Leake comes in, and he's not off to a hot start, to say the least. He's 0-3 with a 5.83 ERA. Hopefully those are just some new team jitters. Hopefully he can get back on track with Wainwright in the month of May. Now, going into this season, everybody was hyping the pitching staff and everybody was down on the offense. And lo and behold, because baseball is just so fun and easy to predict, all of that is wrong. Now, the Cardinals have only hovered around 500. They're not off to a great start, to say the least, but their offense is what's keeping them afloat, and the numbers are ridiculous. They're first in runs scored in the National League. They're second in batting average behind rival Pittsburgh. They've got a .275 team batting average, and they're third in the National League in home runs with 34. I mean, who would have predicted this? Contributing to those numbers, your home run leaders for the St. Louis Cardinals are Jeremy Hazelbaker with 5, Brandon Moss with 5, Aledmys Diaz with 4, Jed Jerko with 4, and Stephen Piscotty with 4. So you like to see that power coming out of this Cardinal lineup. I don't think many people would have seen that coming, but hey, you'll take it. Going deeper into the offensive numbers for the St. Louis Cardinals, Holiday off to a respectable start. Not his best, .253 average, 3 home runs, 13 RBIs. He's historically a slow starter, so hopefully those numbers will be on the rise in the month of May. Yadier Molina, who doesn't love this guy? He's batting .341, 10 RBIs, 7 doubles so far, and what he does with the pitching staff and behind the plate, we're just so fortunate to be able to see this guy year in and year out, don the birds on the bat, perform at an elite level every year. Yadier Molina off to a great start so far. Matt Carpenter, he had a slow spring training, and he's off to a bit of a slow start with a .230 average. However, he does have 17 RBIs. That leads the club. 15 runs scored and a few home runs himself. Jed Jerko came in from San Diego. He's off to a fairly slow start. He does have 16 runs scored and 4 home runs. You like to see that power coming from the middle infield. He's batting just .228. Then there's Stephen Piscotty. He's batting near .300 at .297, 4 home runs, 15 RBIs. You love to see what he can do. But what's really been interesting to me has been the first base situation, and honestly, I feel like we've gotten nowhere as far as who our first baseman is going to be for the 2016 Cardinals. You've seen Matt Holliday make a start here and there at first base. You've seen Carpenter even get some playing time there as well, but who is going to take over? Is it Matt Adams? Is it Brandon Moss? Or is this just going to be a platoon situation for the entire year? Moss has shown his power. He's an all-or-nothing type of guy, similar to a Mark Reynolds or an Adam Dunn. Moss batting .226. He's got 5 home runs and 14 RBIs. You like to see that pop. You like to see it come off the bench. You'd like to see a little bit more consistency swinging the bat with Brandon Moss. And then there's Matt Adams. He's been fighting it a bit to start the season. He's got 17 strikeouts, a .244 average, and just 45 at-bats. So first base, like I said, I feel like we've gotten nowhere at the position. Hopefully, going forward, we can have a little bit more clarity at who's going to be at the helm across from Carpenter at first base on the diamond. Now, one guy who I was really hoping would have a breakout year, he's recently signed a 5-year, $25.5 million contract to stay with the Cardinals, a guy that Matheny and Mozeliak has had a lot of faith in, and that's Kolten Wong. Talk about a guy who is struggling mightily. .226 average, 12 strikeouts, only 2 RBIs with no extra base hits so far for Kolten Wong. And it's unfortunate, too, because he's got the tools to be a great player. He's just been unable to put it all together so far in 2016, and you start to wonder how long Matheny and Mozeliak are going to stick with this guy, especially with the performances of Aledmys Diaz, Ruben Tejada coming back from injury, Peralta will be back soon, and of course, Jed Jerko. But only time will tell. Unfortunately, Kolten Wong hasn't been doing so well defensively. He's got 4 errors, just one behind Aledmys Diaz on the Cardinal roster. The Cardinals lead all of Major League Baseball in errors with 24, and going into May, we need to shore up that defense because contributing to the poor starts of maybe Mike Leake and Adam Wainwright, I don't want to make excuses, but a lot of these guys in the Cardinal rotation and even in the bullpen are pitch to contact. Let the defense behind them do the work. And when you're making errors almost on a nightly basis, it's going to be difficult to win ball games. The Cardinal way has prided themselves on crisp defense and playing the game the right way, but you've seen some sloppy play so far from the Cardinals. And going into May, hopefully Matheny will be able to figure out what's going wrong with the Cardinal gloves, but as long as this offense keeps stepping it up and our pitching can find their way, I do believe that this team has shown some fight. They're not doing poorly. They're just staying afloat around 500. Those Chicago Cubs, I think everybody knew it. They're off to an unreal start as well. They have had a little bit of a soft schedule, but there's just no denying the fact that the Chicago Cubs are the real deal. And, of course, the Pittsburgh Pirates, they dominated us in that first series in the 2016 season. They're competing as well. So here are your National League Central Division standings so far in the month of April. The Cubs lead the division with a quick start at 17-5. Right on their heels are the Pittsburgh Pirates at a 15-9 start. The Cardinals sitting at 500 at 12-12. The Reds sit at 9-15, and in the cellar, the Milwaukee Brewers at 8-15. Hopefully, after the month of May, we'll have some more clarity of where these 3 teams will end up. I do think that Chicago's probably going to hold this division lead going forward. And not to get too far into the future, but the Cardinals have the ability to take on more payroll, a lot more payroll at that. And this might not be the same looking team come late July if they're still in contention. So a lot to look forward to, a lot to cross your fingers about, a lot of ups and a lot of downs still to get through together. But Cardinal Nation, we must stick together, and I think we'll be just fine, and hopefully watching some Cardinal baseball in October. From the KMOX studios in downtown St. Louis, David Belleville here signing off. Thank you for listening. Be good.